There is a question that I get relatively often, and that is how can I make my own fire rated wood doors? And, well, it's certainly possible. There's no doubt that it's possible. And not being an expert when it comes to modern methods of manufacturing, I can tell you that I have manufactured wood doors in the past. I've owned all the machinery to do it. I've had relationships with the manufacturers of the components that you need to build fire rated doors, and I've had the proper listings and certification with the labeling agencies such as Underwriters Laboratory, Warnock Hersey, Factory Mutual. Our certification was with Warnock Hersey, I believe. So doors, fire rated wood doors that you would buy from us would be fire rated, of course, whatever was required, but they would bear a Warnock Hersey label. The problem with just casually doing it, of course, is that it's impossible because you need all of the equipment. You need you need not only a way to trim the assembly when it's built, but you need a way to generate the outrageous amount of force required to glue the assembly together. A cold press type of technology would be the term used to manufacture doors, cold press. So a cold press basically involves two sheets of plywood, basically, that are roughly an eighth of an inch, and it's skinned with the veneer of choice, whatever you're building the door to be, birch or oak or walnut or cherry or maple, etc., whatever it is. A couple of pieces of this material. And you purchase that from the people who make that material, the door skin suppliers. And back when I was doing it, there were only two people that made it. Only two. And there's probably more now. There may be only one. I don't know. So you need to buy the door skins. You need to buy enough of them so that it makes sense to have a truck bring you some door skins. You're going to need to buy a couple of hundred door skins would be my guess. You then need to buy the cores, and the cores are assembled units where you buy the mineral core and they're what's called banded. The fire rated approved stiles and rails have been banded to the mineral core. So you're purchasing that assembly with the type of wood that you want on the edge, which is an option. So you now you need to stock possibly 3 different types of banded mineral core because of the different edge species combinations. Let's say you needed to have oak, and you needed to have like a mill option, and you needed to have like a maple if you're going to do birch or maple doors. And then what do you do if you have cherry doors or walnut? Now you have all the different sizes because you cannot trim this material very much because it's already banded and built as an assembly. There's only so much you can actually trim off. So if your client wants 35 and 13/16 doors, that's no problem because you're going to buy the proper width banded core for 3-foot doors. But what if your job calls for doors that are 35 and 9/16 because they're using full mortise continuous hinges? Most likely all of those banded cores you have will not work. So you've got the problem, and then who makes those banded cores? Again, it's a very small group of people that you can actually buy from. And back then, I believe it was only 2 options as well. So you don't have options to buy the material other than the very small number of people who do it. You have to stock a lot of different size materials, which means a significant investment. I can tell you from experience of the wood door industry and the components that go along with it are a very strict net 30-day sort of environment. There's no, not that this is germane to the conversation, but I'm merely telling you that what I'm inferring and directly saying, in fact, is that the amount of money that you will need to put into it day one is upfront and all of it together. So, because there's no, getting, 180-day terms, net 30. That's it. The problem with net 30 is that if it's net 31, you can run afoul of the one person in the world who makes the material. Now your entire business model has collapsed. So controlling finances is crucial in terms of the initial investment. Then you need the machinery. So a cold press is literally going to be a large hydraulic machine that will compress, let's say, a stack of 20 doors with hundreds of tons of pressure. That tool can be several tens of thousands of dollars quite easily. Even a used machine that's 2 decades old will cost several tens of thousands of dollars. Now you need a way to apply the glue to it. So you'll need to spend several $1,000s getting a glue spreader. You'll need to have a source to purchase the glue in drums, which that's not a very difficult thing to do, and you'll be able to source that. But you're going to buy glue in 55-gallon drums. Then you need different types of glues for what you're building. So be mindful of that. Then, after you have taken a plywood, the banded core, and another piece of plywood, you've glued it, you've put it into the press, it's sat, it's ready to go. Now you need a way to trim that. There's no super elegant, inexpensive way to trim the door down to the net final size. Then, of course, you need a way to machine everything elegantly. So the bottom line is, for the amount of money that I can sell you these doors that are already manufactured, unless, I don't know what the break-even point would be, but I could not fathom it being anywhere less than 200 doors a day would be my guess, because of what you can already buy them from already manufactured. Why so? Well, the people that already are doing this, the work, the wood door manufacturers, they're set up. They've got the tools, they've got the relationships, they've got the know-how, and they've got the financial backing based on existing business. I don't really see an advantage for doing this because fire-rated doors are not that expensive to begin with. The upside is if you were going to... The upside would be you have all the tools. You can make all doors now. And, of course, for every one fire-rated door you're going to sell, you'll sell, 50 doors that are not fire-rated. So you can do all that. So, and then, of course, I've not mentioned the amount of square footage size you're going to need. You'd need several thousand square feet just to put all this material, not to mention a fork truck, and then manpower, insurance, electricity to run all the tools, etc. So, not to dissuade you, but I'm relaying to you my actual experience in having taken the idea from conception to completion, to actually manufacturing the doors. And it may be that the volume just isn't there to justify the thought any further. And that what your ultimate best solution would be to become a licensed machiner. That's the term, licensed machiner. Meaning that you can buy slab, you can buy non-prepped doors from someone like me. You can then route and cut and drill the doors according to the certifications from the licensing shop that you are having a certification from, and working within the tested guidelines, meaning you do not prep the door afoul of what's permissible. Okay, that's no problem. And in fact, that's probably all you need to do. You can call Underwriters Laboratory or Warnock Hersey. Warnock Hersey is probably who I'd call. I don't remember why. It may have been cost related, but Warnock Hersey, I want to become a licensed machiner. You are then going to have a certification, basically. You're going to tell them, these are the manufacturers of doors that we are going to machine here. And there will be a listing of these manufacturers of doors because the construction type is inherent to the manufacturer of the door. And you will then have what's called procedures, a booklet for that door construction type, a la manufacturer of the core. And that will give you, in the book, the permissible procedures, what you can physically do to the door. You might say to yourself, well, a customer calls me up and wants me to cut in a hole that is within 3 inches of the door style. Fire-rated door style. Well, you can refer to your book and it'll say, minimum style width to be, don't quote me, but it could be 5.5 inch or something along those lines. Depends on the construction of the door, the fire rating required as well, the warranty on the door. So you would refer to your procedures and it would dictate what you are permitted to do. and that cost is not substantial. But you still have to have volume to justify the monthly cost, which it is a monthly cost, and then you purchase the labels. And the metal labels, I believe that they're still metal, will come to you with the Warnock-Hersey. It will come with the serial number. It will come with verbiage that states this is a door, blah, 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 fire rated, etc. It will have your company name on it as well. And that's probably all you need to really do to be able to facilitate the delivery of fire rated doors to your client base. But again, I think you need to have an existing demand in place, or you need to be beyond assured of an existing demand. And then at that point, it still needs to be, I would think, several dozen doors a month to justify that sort of cost. Why you would become licensed is because you can then stock pre-manufactured slab doors, meaning they're not prepped for hardware, and then you can prep them whatever your client's requirements are. Alternatively, you can just order the doors from someone like me, and they will come to you fully machined from the factory to your specifications. The downside of that is there's always going to be a lead time, because they're not going to stock the door prepped in all of the infinite combination of ways it could be prepped. They don't stock the pre-built slabs either. So the doors are manufactured and machined, so you've got weeks of lead time there. If weeks of lead time don't work for you, your only other option, and you have the demand, stock all the slabs from us, get licensed to machine the doors as a licensed machiner, and then you'll be able to take a pre-built door off the shelf, machine it. You could have a 3-day lead time, that sort of scenario. And in fact, that was the business model of many people, many wood door wholesalers that I've dealt with in the Chicago area in the 90s and the first decade of the 2000s, and so on. A lot of that business really went away, and it may have had to do with the global or the economic, not global, but the economic sine wave of what was happening in the 90s with building, and the 2000s and 2008, etc. And that may be up on an uptick, but I have not seen a resurgence of people coming into the marketplace to stock all these doors and then have the people and know-how and tools on hand to prep all these doors when lead time is what you're trying to use as a differentiator between you and your competition. So anyway, not to blab on about this any further, however, it's the old saying, the money's got to be there. Right? Show me the money, and then, sure, of course, be happy to build the infrastructure. Let me know if there's anything else that we can assist with on this conceptualized plan. Thank you very much.